Hi, welcome. If you're watching this, that means you're one of my students, either in mathematics or in the French class. Welcome. Welcome to your first session. Your first session is about the orientation, introduction, and preliminaries to the course, or more popularly known to you as the subject that you have taken. In this session, we're going to talk about where your grade will be based on. The various components will be your attendance, your participation, your assignments, quizzes, major exams, your projects, your exercises. How are they going to be administered? How are they graded? And all of the necessary things with regard to those components. So let's proceed. The first one, I think, the most important one that we need to talk about is the attendance. Fortunately, for both the online learners and the modular learners, your attendance will not be checked. No one is going to check your attendance, even during the live sessions. The live session is optional and is provided for those students who want to learn more. If they have some questions during their independent learning using the module or using the materials provided during the first session. Now in this first session, this is the material that is provided for you. In the first session, in the second session, in the third session, attendance is not required. So it's not part of your grade. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to attend the classes, because if you do not, then you will not learn as much. And the drawback of that is you won't be able to, especially if you're not attending the classes, you won't be able to know whether you have tasks or assignments or quizzes. And the moment that you know that you have and you're pressed to perform or accomplish all of them, it'll be difficult for you because you're going to cram, and the limited time is going to cause a lot of discomfort for you. So I encourage everyone to manage your time well, attend classes whenever you can, finish all of the tasks, assignments, and quizzes on the time they're given. Don't wait until they pile up, until it's very difficult to accomplish them all. Also, study every session. When your teacher upload a material for you to read immediately. You don't want that time to come when you have a lot of activities on hand, a lot of deadlines, a lot of tasks to finish. You're so overwhelmed and you don't know how to deal with them anymore. Don't wait for that. Be responsible. Next, we have a schedule of the sessions. Let's talk about it. The first session is for my classes Wednesday. In this session, I'm going to upload materials, learning materials. It could be a video like this one that you're listening to, watching, or a PDF. A PDF could be a PDF version of the module minus the activities, because the activities will be provided using the appropriate software, or a clipping from a website, an article from a website turned into a PDF, or a document, or a case study, or anything that's appropriate in a PDF form. It could also be a section of a book that we're using for the class. If it is a book, expect that I'm not going to upload the entire book at once. I'm going to clip it. I'm going to select the appropriate pages and I'm going to upload it one at a time, or a section at a time, so that you are not overwhelmed with the number of tasks. Images. Sometimes I'm going to post images. For French students, I'm going to post images of things that you can find in France. Also, video of people talking, so that you're not just going to learn the pronunciation from me, you're also going to learn it from native speakers. Sometimes I'm going to upload notes, not just my notes. It could be a note from a student who is managing a website, or a professor in web pages. Our primary platform is Google Classroom. but it's possible that in the future, probably a week or two from now, we're also going to use Moodle. We're under training for Moodle, so be prepared for the transfer of your classes from Google Classroom to Moodle. There will be a learning curve because Google Classroom will be different from Moodle, but rest assured that when we transfer to Moodle, either before or during the transfer, I'm going to give you a series of orientations. We cannot proceed without you knowing how to deal with things on the new platform. Okay? So practice exercises will also be posted as assignments at the end of the first session or during the first session. Like after uploading the materials, there will also be immediately an assignment or later on in the day. If you enabled your notification for your Google Class, or if you installed Google Class and the notification is enabled, you will get prompts, you will get notification that a new material or a quiz has been posted. If not, make sure that your email, the email that you used to sign up to Google Classroom is active, and make sure that you have an email app that is in sync so that you receive notifications via email. What is the time that I will upload the materials? Any time of the day without prior notice. So it's important that you get your notification settings on so that you get notified the minute. If you don't want to wait, then I suggest that you check in at the end of the day, maybe late in the afternoon or in the evening, because by then it's sure that the material is up. But most of the time I'm going to upload the material in the morning or a day before or a few days before, so that by Wednesday you can just easily get them the soonest that you can. Next, the second session is on a Thursday. Now, no material will be posted by then. It will be an activity that you will perform either in group, pair, or individual. Expect that this will be different from practice exercises. It will be not just answering something. You will do a lot of thinking on the spot. For mathematics, expect that it's something that you will perform or do, and sometimes there will be a need for you to report. It would depend on the instruction. So if you'll be required to report about your accomplishment after you finish the task, it will be either in the form of a video or you're going to present it the next day during the live discussion. Now for French speakers, usually you will need to translate things, but since I'm going to give it to you now, I'm going to inform you now that I know that Google Translate exists, and since most students cheat using Google Translate, I will do things differently. Translation will be done differently. Sometimes I'm going to ask you a question, and instead of writing the answer down, I'm going to ask you to prepare a video or sing a song or things like that. So make sure that when it is by pair, you pair up with a classmate with a phone, or with a phone with camera and recorder, or a classmate with a phone nearby. It should be a nearby classmate. Or when you arrange yourselves in a group, make sure that you're paired or included in a group with people who have resources so that you will survive. The activity will be marked as an activity or a project. Remember, the activity and or project is it's not introduced here yet, so I'm giving you a heads up. This is 30% of your grade. This is the second highest percentage next to the major exam, next to midterm and final exam. Next session, the last session for the week, is Friday. We're going to have a live session via Google Meet, and we're also going to have a quiz after the Google session. I'm going to make the quiz live, or maybe it will take some time because I will base my quiz on your questions, on the discussion that we're going to have. I mean, not base the questions from there, but base the items, is still on the lessons that I posted on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, but the selection will be based on, it will be influenced by the live discussion. Even if we use Moodle, we're still going to use Google Meet, because Google Meet is a good tool to use, except probably if we have money to purchase a Zoom account, but I think that's not practical because Zoom is expensive. So yeah, we're gonna do Google Meet even if we migrate to Moodle. Where am I going to post the meeting link or the code? It will be posted on your Google, not on the Google Meet. In the slide here it says Google Meet. No, it will be posted via the Google Classroom or the Moodle 30 minutes before the agreed time or schedule. So it's important that your class agrees on a schedule on a Friday. My limit for a Friday is 10 p.m. So you cannot schedule a class beyond 10 p.m. I can have a class at night, although Friday is a rest day for me, but it's okay for me since I'll be home and I'll have a fast internet connection. Live sessions last 1 hour or for 1 hour or for more than an hour, but mostly it will be scheduled for an hour. So make sure that you agree with your time. I think BPED is scheduled for 9 to 10 p.m. so that time slot is already taken. Now, recitation and board work for mathematics, board work for math will be during this time too. For recitation, we're going to have, or later on, we're going to talk about that. There's a special section for that. Now, next, quizzes. Quizzes is 15%. It's similar to participation and assignment that is given on the first day. So quizzes is given on the third day. It's also 15%. There's only one quiz per week. So make sure that you take them. You will have 4 in a month. And the fourth is usually a long quiz. So prepare for that. So quizzes are given after the live session. If you cannot attend the live session, you should see to it that you'll manage your time well in answering the quizzes. Meaning, if you cannot attend on a Friday, it's okay. If you cannot take the exam on a Friday, it's still okay, as long as you manage your time and you don't let your quizzes pile up, because your subject with me is not the only subject that you have. What if you also have other quizzes in your other subjects and you also purposely miss them? So manage your time well. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed by your quizzes and your tasks. What's the deadline? The end of the term, end of the midterm, or end of the final term. When is that? That's the final exam and the midterm exam. So during the exam, that's the deadline. You can submit on the final exam date and the midterm exam date, but beyond that, I'm not going to accept your submission anymore. Why? Because you'll be given that much time. It's like 2.5 months to prepare everything and submit. If you still fail to do that, that means the blame is on you. So I'm sorry for that. For modular learners, all quizzes and activities will be included in the module. For modular learners, not for blended learners. If you opt for modular, like strict modular, then everything is there for you. But how about for, okay, later on, we're going to talk about other things for modular learners. Participation and assignment. But assignments are posted after the first session. You already know that. Quizzes and assignments are mostly taken through Google Forms. So you need to connect to the internet, but not necessarily at that time. You can do it later on, as long as you accomplish everything before the deadline. That's the end of the term. Okay, you have a lot of time. That's 2.5 months for that. So for Google Forms, all you need to do is to, you don't need to install an application for this, because there is no Google Forms application. You just click the link, you'll be directed to the form, and you just fill it out, just like how you did it in your first task. Okay? So next we have projects and exercises, and this is given on the second day, on a Thursday. One of the most important because this is the 30%, the second highest percentage after the final and the midterm exams. It's either an individual task or a task by pair or group. Again, the deadline is at the end of the term, marked by the schedule of the major exam. Now, some of the tasks here, since it's a 30% component of your grade, will have second chance. What does that mean? Let's say you will be required, let's say, to write an essay. So after you submit that, the instructor, and that's me, is going to check, give some annotations, comments, corrections, and your initial grade. Now, if you don't want to revise, it's up to you. The grade will be recorded. Just resubmit using that original submission, and that will be recorded. Or you can revise that, follow the instruction, or correct using the note that is provided in your first submission, and you will have a higher score or a higher grade. The lowest grade that you can get for the revised one is the same grade that you had for your first submission. So you can only get a higher score for this. If you're the type of person who is hardworking or who tries to better himself or herself, this opportunity is perfect for you. Lastly, we have the midterm and the final exam, the major exams, 40% of your grade. It's the most important part of a term, and you will answer alone on this. The instructor, as similar to other instructors, will impose a lot of measures just to prevent you from cheating. Although the instructor knows that you cannot, but the instructor will try to prevent you from cheating because this is a summative exam. Usually, we don't use Google Forms anymore on this. We use Schoology because Schoology has a stricter security feature. Let's see what happens. What if we're provided with the material in the Moodle? Then that means we're going to use Moodle. But as of this moment, what I can tell you is I'm probably going to use Schoology for this. You will also be asked, if possible, to switch on the camera. There's a tool, or the instructor is going to do something with the assessment so that while you're taking the exam, your camera will be on and the teacher can monitor you while you take the exam, so that the teacher will know that it's you who's taking the exam and you're not looking at someplace else and there's no one around you. For modular learners, you have two options. Either you take the exam online, and that's the irony of this, because you if you chose modular learning, that means you cannot do online. But if you want a simpler, if you want to do it simpler, then take it online. Else, take it on site. You go to the Besmskat, you take it. We cannot send you the material because no one is going to proctor for you, and that would compromise the result of the major exam. Other things, there will be plus point opportunities still. I'm known for plus points during the this is the advantage of the live discussion. You can earn plus points here. During the live discussions, I'm going to ask a question with a point. Let's say I'm going to say challenge question equivalent to 3 points. If you can answer it correctly, you get the 3 points. If your answer is wrong, you get 1/3 of the point. For 3 points, that's equivalent to 1 point plus 1 in the midterm exam. If it's 10 points, then if you answer correctly, you'll get 10 points. If you answer it wrongly, you get 3.33 points. Students are given a long while to prepare and submit the requirements of the course. So that means if you fail to do it on or before the deadline, you'll get a grade of 5 on those tasks. And in college, 5.0 It's the lowest grade. That's equivalent to, yeah, it's a failing grade. So make sure that you comply. For instance, you failed to take one quiz and it's already past deadline, you get a 5 on that quiz. Not a 70, not a 75, you get a 5. In my case, you get a 0 on that. Because I'm using a percentage system, you get a 0 for that. And then later on, after computing for your grade in a percentage, that's the only time that I'm going to convert it into the point system that we have, or the grading system that we have. Next, plagiarism. Sometimes I'm going to give you a task about essay. Even in mathematics, my tasks would involve reflection at the end, where I'm going to give you a problem and you're going to write about how you're going to approach the problem. Solution is not required here. Now, for those who are clever enough to find answers in the internet, be warned that I'm using a tool. I'm using Copyscape, that's paid version. I have a paid subscription, and Grammarly, a premium account, to detect whether you copied something from online. You cannot skip this. If I find out that your content have more than 10% of copied content, I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to embarrass you in front of your classmates, or I'm not even going to embarrass you in front of yourself. I'm just not going to record it. You'll get a 0 for that, and you won't even know, unless you get your material, unless you ask, because I will not inform you, because you do not have the right. You forfeited the right for information when you cheated. So don't plagiarize. I would appreciate more if you have wrong grammars, wrong spelling, than if you are perfect, if your output is perfect and is copied, lifted from the internet. How are the outputs checked? It's automated. For your quizzes, at the end, it will be checked automatically, especially if it's from Google Form. It will immediately be checked, but the scores will not be sent to you unless the teacher does so, unless the instructor does so. For Schoology, it's also automatic, and at the end, if there are no manual grading features, you will grade your score. You will get your score. If it requires manual grading, then a rubric will be used. Before the exam, I'd provide you the rubric, or before the activity, or with the activity, I'm going to give you the rubric so that you know how to get a perfect score for that. How about cheating or dishonesty? It's not tolerated and it's punished heavily. I'm not going to tell you a lot of things about this, but that's it. Punished heavily. Why? If I catch you cheating, that would frustrate me a lot, because that means you don't deserve to learn, because you're not interested in learning. Because if you are, then you would embrace the possibility of committing a mistake. But you do not want to commit a mistake on your own. You want to cheat, you want to copy. That's the lowest form of creature for me, the cheaters and the dishonests. So you'll be punished heavily. What's heavy punishment for that? That's a 5.0. Expect that you're gonna get a failing grade for cheating. That's it. If you have a question, write your question in the comment box below, and I'll try my best to answer them. This video will be posted in the Facebook page and in the Google Classroom, and I'm gonna post probably a link via your GC. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to this. I hope you're doing well. Bye.